Fans of the limit of adhesion, fans of the endurance, fan of multi-class and fans of Sebring, all of you are in a treat today. The second race of the limit of adhesion endurance series from the Sebring International Raceway. And as you can see, it will be a night start. We will start in the night, but as the race goes on, the sun will come out. So we will see different lighting for our drivers to tackle on. And this was the qualifying. We start with the GT4s. Again, a strong field of drivers. Bruno Gaiotto, he changed from LMP3s to GT4s. So he starts from 0. Because if you change car or class, you lose all your points, which makes a lot of sense if you ask me. So, fresh start for him in this strong GT4 field. But, as you can see in a bit, our LMP3 field is also really strong. So, getting into the top 20, it sounds easy with, I think it's 24 GT4s. Sounds, all you have to beat is 4 drivers. But no, it will be a bit of a task, I believe. Maybe it will help you to the fact that it may also be a survival race, because Sebring is not an easy track. But yeah, you see the LMP3 grid here at the moment. Of course, much faster lap times, so they will meet quite a bit, even though it is a long track, almost 6 kilometers long, 5.954 to be exact. What can we expect? 47 laps for the LMP3 and 42 laps for the GT4s. And here we have already starting the GT4s and LMP3s. Sebring, it is officially started for the LMP3s, but we also wait for the GT4s here. They are 24 and 20, so 44 cars, a packed race here at Sebring. And of course, it is a bit easier for the LMP3s to score points, just finish the race. But Sebring is one difficult track, so maybe that word easy is easier said than done. Ewan Topley was there trying to get on the outside, but first lap is all about survival. You don't want to get on the back foot in a 90-minute race so early. That would be the worst case scenario. So far so good. George Cross attacks Jack Davis. Ooh, almost contact there, I believe. James Ellis. Yeah, so far so good. We start in the night, we end in the morning. So our drivers have to adapt to changing light conditions. Gaiotto spinning around and oh, stop it! Oh my goodness, I thought for a moment he was backing onto the racing line, but no, luckily not. But I talked about you don't want to be on the back foot at the start of the race, and for Bruno, the only driver that has changed between classes from race 1 to race 2, he's now in that situation in P24 and last. James Pepper behind David Ward and Jason Hightower. 6, 7 and 8. Joe Tome and Mark Innes. Oh, one of the Slutzes a bit on the grass. And it, of course, at the start of the race, it will be a bit hectic. We have 44 cars. Ooh, scratching the wall. Black Toby, I think this was Black Toby. No, this is not Blake Tovey. Henry Shepard. Like I said, you don't want this to happen early on. Oh, and that car is looking bad. Justin Maurice Weisbecker. The name that almost does not fit into the overlay. Almost. But yeah. Oh, now it's Blake Tovey. See, I was only wrong by 30 seconds. And he has to spin around P23. Henry Shepard already in the pits. Not a big shocker after that. Somewhat of a big shunt in Sunset. So yeah. 90 minutes. 47 laps for these guys. So maybe not so much if they continue like this. Mark Innes returning to the racetrack there. And 42 laps for the fastest GT4s. Maurice Weisbecker spinning around in Sunset. It is so easy to do. It is one of the toughest corners in all of racing. It's so bumpy there. So mastering it would be so important. And of course we have to talk about the thing we always have to talk about, and that is incident limit. 90 minutes is a long time. The incident limit is somewhat low. I think Daniel Bond just hit the inside of the wall there. And you get them easily. Marcin Rajewski, P12. Matt Pierce, P13. You're on board with Matt Pierce. First corner, also very easy to get an off track there on the outside. It is one of the harsher off tracks here. But you have to be patient in that especially in the GT4 with when to put on the throttle and when not. If you do it too soon, you off track. It's as easy as that. James Ellis, P20. Back to the LMP3! Ouch! Mark Innes collides with the wall and now he has to wait. Ellis overtakes Neil Todd, gains 3 positions. Ewan Topley in the top 10 gained 5 positions, definitely one of the winners of the start. George Cross starting from the final spot in the LMP3s, already up 9 positions. And now in P11. Alex Murphy and Ture Molarin try to keep contact to the 2 Polish drivers. Łukasz Szipua already 2.8 seconds in front, gaining 1.1 second in the last lap alone. Proving why he is probably the favorite to win it all. But 90 minutes is a long time. Peppa still behind David Ward, someone going a bit wider, Jason Hightower, but it's alright. You can take Sunset in different ways, but you have to be mindful. It is bumpy, there are elevation changes, there are walls. Everything you know and love. Winslade here in front, and contact! Oh no, Winslade, he is off. Both of them are off. Oh yeah, that's probably at least 1 penalty point for the voice you are currently hearing. Whoops. The least I could have done is to wait for Gareth Winslade. That I did, but this is definitely all on the car of the number 024. Hit him with the penalty hammer. Marion Hogevain, P11, lost 5 positions from the start. George Cross now already gained 10 positions. John Cook behind Daniel Bond, the big package in front of him. John Cook gained 4 positions. Bruno Gaiotto and Winslade. And another contact for Winslade. He will have nightmares in purple. That's the second missed Apex stable member spinning Winslade around in 40 seconds? Sorry, Gareth. Thomas Goebbels goes a bit wide there, losing a position as a result. Peter McIntyre, P19! Into the wall! The Le Mans section, right before the final corner. Start of the back straight. Jason Hightower already losing sight of the top 5. This is why David Ward wants to get past, so maybe he can close the gap. And also James Pepper saying, you know what? I want it. At least one position. But so far, good stuff from James Pepper, who I just noticed was in my sheet wrong in terms of which car he's driving. I had a Porsche for him, but no, he's in a Mercedes AMG. So I have to change that for the graphic at the end of the race. I hope I don't forget. Because, yeah, that's another thing. Oh, that's another spin! A full 364, I think it was Rob Miller. And Gareth Winslade, Bruno Gaiotto, Blake Tobian, no, oh my. I think the nightmares turned into hatred fuel. That was now the 3rd hit by a missed Apex driver. Second time it was Gaiotto. And that one was probably the most costly of the 3. Ay. Gavin Kelly, P16 behind him. Weisbecker, we saw him spin earlier. And Thomas Goebbels. Some of the LMP3s are already in contact with GT4s. These are the, sorry for the word, backmarker LMP3s that have to tangle with them due to the incidents. Mark Innes in the pits. Apparently, don't see it on the minimap, but it showed on the overlay on the left. Huh. Zachary Liebold, Marcin Rajewski chasing Rich Meesters. The 4 Porsches, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now a BMW's between them as John Cook did an overtake. Rob Miller, P11, another victim of the Sunset Band, losing at least, oh, there they come. I hope the rejoin is okay. But yeah, this is exactly what I expected. A chaotic begin, back and forth, a bit hard to follow, but this is, oh no, oh no! 2 LMP3s collide and they take out the GT4. The GT4 was really far on the inside, giving enough room, but the 2 LMP3s just simply collided. And the purple car was collateral damage. Ay, 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 ay. But yeah, this was to be expected, like I said. I also expect it to settle down at some point. I would assume after the first, maybe the first time the LMP3s are getting past the GT4 field. Neil Todd in the GT4 was in front of George Cross, who already is in P5. Oh, James Pepper hitting the inside wall there. Not optimal. Maybe giving Jason Hightower an opportunity. Justin Maurice Weisbecker, P16. But no, Jason Hightower stays behind. For the moment, at least, maybe now. As we cut to McCunsley. Zach Lebo and Cunsley spins. Watch out, Chris Forrester! Another collateral damage there for a GT4. He did nothing wrong and got collected. Watch out for the cones. Hightower and Pepper still fighting for P6. Isaac Mitchell got away from them by really far. So if David Ward gets past them at some point, it's a big gap there. Oh, little wobble there by the LMP3. Jack Davis, P13, right in that train of LMP3s. Traffic management is also a huge skill in multi-class races. Use the slower class as a potential overtaking helper. Don't lose too much time behind them, but also don't risk your race. Because as much as it sucks to lose a second or two behind a slower car, they also have a race. Hightower, Pepper still fighting. Matthew Hansel putting on pressure on Michael Hansweig. Then Charles Vasquez and Clement Godet. Ewan Topley still in the top 10 behind Clayton McBuller. Two BMWs. It showed again, Mark. Ah! It probably is a blinking issue by Mark Innes, so it shows him for... Okay, I think I get why it's not the second time that we see him in the pits. Oh! Not good, guy. Not good. Ay, 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 ay. But yeah, let's recap after the first 16 minutes. We have a tight battle for the GT4 lead between Hansweig and Hansel. For the LMP3s, not so much, but look at George Cross. He started, oh no, almost flipped over. The car almost flipped over. This is Sebastian Boivy. And he has to wait now. Reverses. Okay, what is he doing? I am lost for words. And I seem to start to understand that David Ward's the next GT4 GT4 collateral. And now he has to watch out. I start to understand the pit thingy we saw there with Mark Innes. It stays there. Okay. I added it for this race. I didn't use it last time, as you know. And I start to understand. Okay. So he had a pit stop on lap 4. Okay. I'm on track. It took me 18 minutes. And it continues. Team on Sleuths gets spun around, losing quite a few positions as a result. Rejewski, Meesters. Behind them, David Ward, who got spun around. Chris Forrester, he also got spun around. He is behind Neil Todd, 17 and 18. Behind them, Blake Tovey. So I think everyone from like P17 downwards in the GT4s had some sort of incident, and most of them with an LMP3. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. Hogevain. This was in town. I'm always scared when this happens. Reversing onto the racetrack. I don't know if this is the smartest thing to do, to be honest. Especially if you're sideways. But yeah, our race stewards should decide on those incidents, which will happen after the race. I'm just a broadcaster. I'm not doing the stewarding. Oh no, people would hate me. But it's like being a referee in a sport. You're always the most unpopular person because you have to follow the rules, give out penalties, and have to stick to your line. And oftentimes, not everyone agrees with the decision, but it is what it is. It doesn't help to get into huge arguments because people remember. This is all I will say. Boivy, not in... I mean, after reversing into the wall on his own, which was probably his low light of the race. I hope it doesn't get worse for him. But yeah, I would love to see a little bit of the battle between Hansweig and Hansel. Half a second between them. The LMP3s sadly do not have a leading battle. There are 9 seconds between Shipua and Gabolewski. But George Cross from last to third. And you probably notice it is getting a bit brighter. It is not as dark as it was at the start of the race. Ewan Topley gets past Matt Pierce. Marion Hogewain after his spin. P13. And now he has the GT4 there. This is Henry Shepard, who was the very first car in the pits and also in the wall, I believe. It was a big crash there in Sunset at the start of the race, if you remember. And Hansel is taking the lead. But we focus on this battle. Like I said, I would love to see the race leaders, or the class leaders, I should say. And Cook spinning around. Another one. There we have it. Hansel and Hansweig. Ford versus BMW. Side by side through the opening of the lap. And Matthew Hansel is leading now. But will he be able to get away? Yes or no? Ewan Topley, he fights for P9. So far, good performance by Blobby Racing. I know this is not a team. I'm calling him Blobby Racing. But officially not a team. Timon Slutz, he was in the pit. Thomas Goebbels! Bit too much on the brake. Locking up. And look at this. And now David Ward, he's in a situation where he maybe thought about doing something, but then, I talked about it last time in Road America. You start to think about making a move, and then an LMP4, LMP4, yep, invented a new class there. An LMP3 gets near, overtakes you, and you have to settle down, even though he got one position in that. Rejewski. And Daniel Bond. Bond gained 4 positions. Marcin Rejewski, probably the only driver in the field that is at the same position where he started. I mean, look at the positional change arrows. But once again, I have to mention it. George Cross making up 17 positions. That is impressive. And he's closing the gap to Gabulewski. So, from 22 seconds, it is on the table, but we are just in minute 24 and a half out of 9. Who's Shipua? The race leader. That could have gotten ugly. The car definitely has damage, but probably nothing too major. And remember, in the limit of Adhesion endurance, we are pretty harsh on incident points. And these are 2 incident points for losing control. 20 and you get a penalty, 30 and you get a disqualification. So do that 10 more times and you have a penalty. Or 9 more times, I should say. But yeah, harsh on incident points. But we give our drivers 1 fast repair. So Shipua will use that at his planned pit stop, I would highly assume. And I have to say, in that Porsche you don't see a lot from the inside camera. All I see is roof. Rob Miller, P12 behind Jack Davis. This is for position. 3-way battle, Davis, Miller, Hogewain. David Ward a bit stuck behind Ewan Topley, who is driving a great race, I have to say. David Ward, usually the faster driver, but so far he's defending nicely. Neil Todd, P19, gets a love tap from an LMP3. That was George Cross, I believe. And Bruno Gaiotto, a race to forget. Dead last. So the change from LMP3 to GT4 did not help in the point department. David Ward now passed Ewan Topley. We see it here. To the inside. But Topley's not giving up. Ward gives him room. And is through. But maybe now a counterattack by the powerful BMW. Yes, it is. Look at this. Lovely. Ture Mullerin. P5. The next love tap for Neil Todd. Oh! That's unfortunate. I mean, the love tap to Neil Todd was not necessary. But the rest? Well, Ewan Topley, he's still fighting. I'm really impressed by Ewan Topley. I'm worried about Ture Mollerin's. Yep, because of that. And to the pits he ports. That is a big, big time loss. And Hansel and Hansweig side by side through Sunset Bend. Oh, this is a great fight. But here you were able to see the elevation change there. Did you see? It's an interesting corner. Super tough. But so satisfying to nail. Mark Guinness! We have seen that exact move plenty in there. David Ward getting overtaken by an LMP3. First on the inside, then on the outside. Nerve-wracking. Daniel Bond, not our race leader. No, he is in P14 at the moment. As you can see, it gets brighter and brighter. Marion Hogevain. P10, but not happy with how the race went. Matt Pierce. Car number 100. He wants to get into the top 10. Oh, contact with Topley! And a little bit of a traffic jam as a result, and now 1, 2, 3. Oh no! Oh no! Oy. I want to say traffic jam, and the LMP3 has to watch out as a result. Due to the difference in speed. Clayton McBullough into the wall. Didn't sound too good, and the battle between those two continues. Hansweig wants his lead back. Hansel wants to stay in the lead. This is a great battle so far. But they have to watch out, of course. If they fight too hard and too much, Charles Vasquez and Clement Godet, we haven't talked a lot about them so far. They are not too far away, 2.2 and 1 second. Then there's a gap to Isaac Mitchell, of course, 8 seconds between 4 and 5. Oh, Rejewski hits. And Clayton McBullough in the pits, not a big surprise after hitting the wall. But yeah, that elevation change cost Rejewski there. Little contact, but then as a result of how Sunset is, losing the car. Probably would have been fine in most other corners in the world. George Cross. Really close to Gabolewski. Also good battle here for P7 in the LMP3 class. Matt Consley and Joe Tome. And back to the GT4 leaders for us. we can see that Shipua has recovered in terms of pace after the spin and the hit with the wall. Speaking about the spin, this is Rich Meesters in P20. He was in the pits just now, cold tires. Easy to make a mistake there. Alex Murphy and Luke Slutz for P5. I mean, one resume after the first third of the race. More positional battles between the LMP3s. In Road America, it felt like we are watching a GT4 race with LMP3 participation because there were not that many battles. It's a little bit different this time. We have a battle for P2, we have a battle for P5, a battle for P7, and that is the top 10 alone. So good stuff. Murphy and Slutz get past Isaac Mitchell. Slutz stays behind. Yeah, you have to be patient, the LMP3. You have to be patient. Because we have seen earlier from, I think it was Thomas Goebbels, a little bit too much on the brake and you spin. Steve Pepper in the pits for the GT4. No, for the LMP3. I'm still confused that the faster class is the second class in the replay. It's a replay issue. Because in the race itself, I can tell you, it was perfectly fine. As it should be. Tovey. 13, Forrester. Eventful race for Blake Tovey. Starting really late. And now Goebbels has to... Wait, I mean, yeah. They are, like I said earlier, they have a race themselves. So flashing... Sure, you can flash the two cars in front, but they are having a race. They are fighting for position. They have all right to do so. Like I said, even if it is a bit... Did Tomei touch the wall there? I'm not entirely sure. I think so. Marcin Rejewski, P16 and Neil Todd, P15. At the moment, both solidly in the points. Points are for the top 20 in each class. So for the LMP3, a bit easier to succeed. For the GT4, not a guarantee. Slutz and Hogevein. Both already in the pits once. Mark Kelly now in the pits. Slutz changes lanes. Maybe finding something, not at the moment, too far away. Matt Pierce in the pits for the GT4 class. Watch out, don't take out the leaders. We had to delay the continue of their battle for the LMP3s there, but I talked about earlier. Look at the gap between Hansweig and Vasquez. Less than 2 seconds. Last lap, Vasquez gained half a second. So maybe the battle for P1 might get some additions. Maybe. We are not too far away from the main pit stop timing. Not the word I wanted to use, but I forgot what I wanted to say. Pit window! Pit stop window. That was the word I wanted to use. You see, talking for almost 40 minutes straight, these things tend to happen. So, interesting to see. Will they have the same pit strategy? Will they deviate from each other? Daniel Bond now in the pits. He's in P9. Maybe someone saved fuel for an extra lap? Just throwing out possibilities here. I expect 2 pit stops again for the GT4 class and the LMP3s. But the second pit stop most likely will be a classic splash and dash. The first pit stop definitely also includes a tire change. I would highly assume. Oh, Hansweig really close. The second one, since it is only a splash and dash, definitely not. Because you would lose simply too much time. Hansweig to the outside, to Sunset Bend. We see a whole different choice of lines there. Maurice Weisbecker in the pits for the LMP3s. And here we have it, Matthew Hansel in the pits. Different strategies indeed. Same timing as Clement Godet. Charles Vasquez, also a Ford Mustang, stays out. So is this the opportunity for Hansweig to get things done? Hogewein gets past Thomas Goebbels. Now also Jason Hightower in the pits. Around the 40-minute mark. Is it possible for a GT4 to extend their stint and fuel consumption so that they only have 1 pit stop? In theory, yes, but I would assume that it costs way too much time. The top 5 not in the pits. Meanwhile, the LMP3s, the top 3 all at the pits at the same time. Zach Liebold as well. Let's see if Alex Murphy follows them as well. No, he doesn't. So we have a bit of a change there. Luke Slutz, who was in a battle with Alex Murphy not too long ago, he is pitting. So we see a slight deviation there. Remember, the LMP3 is the same car. Except, and the GT4s are different, but the LMP3, it's all the same car. Daniel Bond, he was in the pits not too long ago, last lap. Cold tires, which helped Ewan Topley getting past, because the first lap out in the GT4 on cold tires is a difficult one. Now Hansweig and Vasquez in the pits. We see a 1-minute pit stop time for Hansel and Godet. Will there be a difference in Hansweig and Vasquez's time? We will see. Isaac Mitchell also in the pits, and I would assume James Pepper and David Ward following as well. We're gonna find out in a few moments. But look at the pit stop time for Hansweig and Vasquez and compare it to Hansel and Godet. Will we see a difference? Meanwhile, everyone in the LMP3 class has pitted except the top 2. The top 2 for the moment, of course. James Ellis. Spinning around! We have not seen a spinning quite some time. Spins away from the racetrack, and look at what I told you. Hanswijk 102. He took longer in the pits. Maybe too conservative in braking towards the pits, maybe. But as a matter of fact, his pit time was 2 seconds longer. And now he's a second behind, and he has the cold tires, while Matthew Hansel's are now back in a temperature window where you want them to be. So, early prediction, the winner of the pit stop, the first pit stop, was Matthew Hansel, but Hanswijk most likely will pit again later than Hansel, and pitting later in a splash and dash situation means he will have a shorter pit stop time. So maybe it will come back to number 99 at the end of the race. But yeah, halftime. It is getting bright is not the right word to use, but compare it to the start of the race, it's a big difference. Hogevein. Managing the traffic. And since we are now officially in the... Oh, there's a... I mean, like I said, we have much more LMP3 direct positional battles than last time. Matt Kansley gets past Joao Tomé. I know I pronounce his name differently every single time, and I apologize for that. Just don't get the consistency with it, which annoys me, to be fully honest. Look at this, Tovey, Forrester and Ellis. A three-way battle for the positions here. And we also have now a situation, you might see it in P14 for the GT4s. A car on an off-cycle strategy. That was after the incident with the LMP3s in lap 7, if you remember. So it was a much shorter pit time for now, but as a result, the second pit stop for car number 024 will be longer than the rest, so it will hurt him at the end of the race. Meanwhile, this battle continues. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Either way, we are now officially in the second half of the race. It's time for zip. Don't forget to hydrate, people. This race is brought to you by... Just kidding, we are not sponsored. But if you want to sponsor the Limit of Adhesion, contact us. Marcin Rejewski, P19. But yeah, some cars on off-cycle strategies. I mean, if we take a look in the top 10, we see Clayton McBuller and Ewan Topley. They pitted 4 to 5 laps earlier as well. Oh, that was a big one for Joao Tomé. That was a big one, and that car so soon after the pit stop. This is a worst case scenario. Oh no, oh no, oh. No, 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 no. And if he has used his fast repair at the first pit stop, Markelli! Bang! But yeah, if he used that fast repair at the first pits, oh, it continues! Chaos! 3 LMP3 chaos moments within 30 seconds. Matt Kunsley and Luke Slutz. Maybe now I can finish the sentence. If he used that damn fast repair just moments ago, his race is cooked. James Ellis. P17. Probably expected a bit more. But who knows what will happen in the second half of the race. Like I said, we have cars on different strategies. So maybe 1 or 2 positions are there for him. Bruno Gaiotto, he is one of those cars. But he is running in P22. Let's face it, big points it will be not for car number 88. Zachary Liebold, he's in P4. Bit on his own there. 14 seconds behind George Cross and 8 seconds in front of Zach Liebold. Also the gap between Gabolewski and Cross, who fought for P2 for quite some time, now is back to over 6 seconds. Kansley and Slutz. Did Slutz just head to the pits? Yes, he did. This cannot be planned. This smells like a drive-through penalty. We talked about the incident limit. Yes, 22 seconds. This is a drive-through penalty. So the first driver we noticed to get one, which also means Luke Slutz has to be mindful. Only 10 more incident points and he gets a disqualification. Charles Vasquez, he is attacking Hansweig, who is struggling at the early parts of the second stint. Gap to Matthew Hensel is 3.1 seconds. And thus, not attacking for the lead, but defending for P2 it is for him. But we are now in a similar situation that we were earlier with him. If the battle between him and Vasquez gets too long or too spicy and loses too much time, they have Clement got their back there. He is not too far away. Gaiotto, it's only 3 to 4 laps probably until his second pit stop. I mean, he can finish that race then, but not the race he wanted. First the spin on lap 1, then the 2 contacts with Gareth Winslade. Nope, not the race he wanted to have. Vasquez. He is close. And he's enjoying this more and more. He feels that he is currently the faster driver. Because it's always a good feeling when you close in a gap. It's always a good feeling if you are that driver. You're confident, you know you are faster. And you prepare in your head, okay, where will I overtake him? Not where can I overtake him, where will I overtake him? This has to be the mindset. Ewan Topley still in the top 10, chased by Matt Pierce and Vasquez. But there is Clay Clemargote in the back. We have not seen him at all, I think, the entire race, but there he was. He is close. 3 seconds. Lost a bit of time though. But you never know. Luke Sluice. That looked a bit dangerous, but it's alright. He tries to get away from Maurice Weisbecker. The traffic helped there a little bit for him. The gap extended to 1.1 seconds again. Matt Pierce. Back to Hogewain, who is chasing Alex Murphy. Side by side. Hogewain gets through. Not the most difficult thing in the world, it seemed like. But on the other hand, not a big shocker. They are part of the Paddock GG stable after all. Not within the same team, but the same stable. Alex Murphy, Paddock GG Blue. Marion Hogewain, Paddock GG White. Oh no! Gabolewski! Not good. Not good for P2. Is the car okay? Is the car okay? .8 seconds. Vasquez and Hansweig side by side, but one eye is on Gabolewski. I'm not too sure if the car is alright. Rich Meesters, P18. George Cross overtakes Gabolewski. Gabolewski's in the pits. That car definitely is not fine. Maybe. Oh, Rob Miller spinning around at the tower section. But the question is, does he have a fast repair? Yes or no? Slutz takes with him a few cones. But yeah, worse. The only saving grace for Gabolewski, if he has his fast repair still, he no longer has to pit. He can finish from there. But this is not looking good. Nope, he already used it. Which means this is now repair time. And soon he will drop out of the top 10. Just now. Ay. What a shame, but this helps George Cross getting into P2. From 20 to P2. What a performance. I mean, P1 is gone. 20 seconds. For that he needs some, let's call it, outside help. Or a big mistake by Łukasz Szybura. George Cross in the pits though. Is this another penalty? He's standing, no? Have we missed something? I mean, now the gap between 1 and 2 in the LMP3 class is massive. Absolutely massive. 34-second pit stop by George Cross. But as I mentioned, the sooner you do that second pit stop, the longer you stand, which is a massive disadvantage. You will see it. Compare the pit stop times once the second set of pit stops is hitting us. And remember numbers like 34 seconds. Or in the case for the GT4s, 1 minute. And compare it. Rob Miller. The back we saw Clement getting past his stablemate, who just came out of the pits for his second pit stop. Zach Liebold. Oh, you're a bit really far wide. But it is better that than hitting the wall. Better losing 2 seconds instead of 2 minutes. 31 minutes still on the clock. Where are the big battles? P2 still. Oh, watch out there, slow GT4. And Timon Slutz was able to use it. Matt Kunsley was outside overtaking the GT4. That cost him time, and Timon Slutz went to the inside and took him. Great stuff. So yeah, this is one of the battles. The biggest battle within the top 10 in the LMP3. But we also have a top 10 battle in the GT4 class between 2 and 3. And 9 to 10, not too far away either. 1.5 seconds. Matt Kunsley probably not too happy about it. I lost my position because of that slow class car. You hate it. You hate it. But then again, this is multi-class racing, ladies and gentlemen. Shibua, 152.8. Wow! What a lap! What a lap! Of course, Zachary Liebold's last lap was a bit compromised by the mistake. Yeah, that cost him quite a bit, but still 152.8. This is utter domination. Of course, the picture is a bit skewed now with P2 and P3 having issues. Definitely. Alex Murphy in the pits. But still, what a performance. Timon Slutz also in the pits after his overtake done on Matt Kunsley, but maybe Matt can use that. Maybe Matt can use it. We will see. Here we have him, the race leader. The morning sun is upon us here at Sebring, as Shipua was on his way to not sunrise but sunset. Driving sunset during sunrise. What a feeling. Luke Slutz, P6. Alex Murphy not too far away. There we have him. So there are still a lot of battles. George Cross at the moment in P4, but remember, he was in the pits. But compare the times between George Cross and Alex Murphy. 34 seconds against 31 seconds with 2 laps of separation. Now imagine if we are not having 2 laps of separation, but 5, 6, 7, and suddenly we talk about much bigger gaps. Rich Misters, P17 fighting for positions. So are James Ellis and Blake Tovey, 14 and 15. So there are a lot of battles in the not in the top 10, but in the next 10, 11 to 20. We have seen just a few. And Marion Hogewain, he caught up to Zach Liebold. Look at the lap time from Hogewain last lap. But the question is, can he remain that pace? Misters and contact with Chris Forrester up his rear, similar to what we've seen early in the race with Gareth Winslade, but poor Garrett got spun around here. Not a lot has happened. Maybe minor rear damage. Maybe. George Cross, he has no longer to pit. So he is the de facto P2 driver. Because even though the pit stops by Hogewain and Liebold will be much shorter, look at the gap, he's 10 seconds behind P2. Alex Murphy and Luke Slutz. I'm happy that we see much more LMP3 action than in Road America. Which is a good sign, definitely. Oi, Jack Davis and Marcin Rejewski exposing the Nismo engine there. What a shame, it was a good race for Jack Davis up to this point. So he has to help me. What's the word I'm looking for? Tweak his pit stop strategy. Let's call it this. Come to the pits now. Hopefully Jack has a full repair still. A fast repair. We have not seen a lot of incidents involving Jack Davis, so I'm pretty sure Jack still has his. So the damage, even though the car looks bad and spins around, it sounds weird. He shouldn't lose too much if he has his fast repair. Sounds stupid after what we have just seen, but that's the reality. If he has that fast repair, which also shows you how important it is to not use the fast repair too early. Of course you can say, if you're involved in an incident, okay, I use my fast repair early and get rid of it, but then of course you are in a risk that if something else happens, then you're cooked. Rob Miller managing traffic here in P9, bit on his own at the moment in terms of positions. Gap between Murphy and Slutz has also increased a bit. Hogewain in the pits. Now I'm curious. In terms of comparing the time in the pits. 34 seconds George Cross. How much for Hogewain? "22 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, feels like a drive-through penalty to me. I have not looked at the map to see if the point by Hogewain was was moving the entire time or standing, but I believe that was a drive-through penalty. So he too is in the situation that he has to watch out. One contact and a spin are 6 points. Getting 4 off tracks to that in 22 minutes is totally possible, and suddenly we're talking about the DQ. Jack Davis, 33 seconds in the pits, so he should be fine. Murphy. He had that one incident with Ture Mollerin in lap 7, I believe it was, when they took out poor broadcaster. But apart from that, I think Alex Murphy had a clean race. But then on the other hand, so much has happened, so I wouldn't take it for granted that this information is correct. Consider your source, and your source is me. Steve Pepper. Mark Kelly not too far away, so there is a battle for P13 potentially in the LMP3 class. Luke Slutz. So far a good race for him. P7 gained 3 positions. And maybe Alex Murphy is on the table. But he needs to find more pace than he currently has for that. Ewan Topley and Clayton McBullough, with Matt Pierce not too far behind. They have been together the entire race. I mean, literally for Clayton and Ewan, because they are directly next to each other and they stopped at the same time, lap 15. And they are still going at it. Battle of the race? Simply by sheer duration? Probably. Charles Vasquez, he was able to get away from Michel Hansweig a bit. 1.2 seconds. It's not too much. Last 20 minutes here in Sebring. Hogevain! Who is he, one lucky fella? That could have been costly. Will there be minor damage? Yes. Could have been much worse. Yes. Did his pulse go up by at least 30? Yes. Weisbecker in the pits. He's in P8 for the LMP3s. Second and final pit stop, 18.5 minutes left on the clock. Thomas Goebbels, P11. And back to the... Topley now has developed a gap to Clayton McBullough, and look, they once again both at the same time in the pits. Again, the earliest to do so. But now Matt Pierce, maybe Matt Pierce can, with a bit of free space, get past both of them. James Pepper. I'm really impressed by James Pepper's performance today. P7 No real mistakes. Really good performance. Really good performance. Zach Liebold laps Jack Davis, who makes no problem whatsoever. He knows it. He's a veteran. No need to do anything stupid. Gets to the side, loses 1.5 seconds, and gets on with it. Hogevain in the pits, this time for real. This time not for a penalty. Sebastian Boivi. When he reversed into the wall, I called it his low light of the race, hopefully, and we have not seen him since, so that's a good sign. That's not a good sign. Rejewski spinning around, or getting spun around, rather. Ewan Topley. Naughty. Naughty. But also, he had a 4-second longer pit stop than Clayton McBullough. Huh. Did he miss his pit box? Did he had some repairs to do? Some minor repairs? We never know. Shipua. 1 minute of a lead. There's not much to say. Again, skewed picture. It is a skewed picture. Because George Cross was in the pits for his second time already. Shipua was not. So that will come down a little bit. But still. George Cross losing there a bit of time in the traffic. A bit is good. This is a bit more than a bit. 1.3 seconds. Hogevain. Also longer pit stop than expected. But remember, he had that rear damage. So maybe it comes from there. And if the car feels a bit unstable as a result, you sacrifice 5 to 6 seconds and tell yourself, you know what? Repair that car, at least it is drivable, and I have trust in it again. Because driving Sunset Bend for 8 more times, 7 more times, 8 more times, something like that, having the feeling of, oh, will the car survive? That is not a good one. 14 minutes and 20. We are now in sprint race territory. And maybe still take a look at the top 3 in the GT4 class. This isn't decided yet. This is not decided. Clement, he dropped off a little bit, so he is pretty cemented into P4. But the top 3, it is not over. Hightower in the pits. The Mercedes. There we have him, Clement Godet. We have not seen a lot from him, but P4, another stellar performance. He is consistent across all 3 limit of adhesion leagues. Doesn't matter if it's sprint, prime, or this one, endurance. Definitely one of the best drivers we have in limit of adhesion. Together with Matt Hansel. On the other hand, I don't have to repeat all the names. Take the top 5 of both classes. End of story. Because the problem, if you start to call names, say names like in the best of the league, and then you miss out 1 or 2 drivers, oh, you get into trouble to do so. So I'm not doing that. Hogevain. is 3.5 seconds behind Rob Miller, but big difference. Miller needs to pit. Bruno Gaiotto, P22 into a spin. If you thought the race couldn't get much worse, it can. That's the problem. And also, look what happened. Matt Pierce jumped McBullough and Ewan Topley in the pits. I talked about it. 4 seconds faster in the pits than McBullough, 8 seconds faster than Topley. Equals jumping both drivers. So nicely done for Matt Pierce, but now Clayton McBullough maybe wants his position back. Not just maybe, he wants his position back. So this could get real interesting. Out of the top 10 in GT4, 9 still have to pit. In the LMP3s, out of the top 10, 7 need to pit, because Luke Slutz, the number 8, he is at the pits right now. So we have to keep that in mind. It will be a short pit stop. Definitely. Expect low pit stop times. 30 seconds and less. And of course the time for those pit stops starts when they enter the pit lane and exit. It's not their stand time. Which is why a drive-through penalty costs 22 seconds of pit time. Just to clarify that. Peppa and Ward. P6 and P7s. Really close together. And once again, I repeat myself, I'm sorry. I'm impressed by James Peppa. A fine drive, McIntyre. Big slide for the big package. Can he save it? No. At least no wall, but P23, most likely no points for him tonight. Alex Murphy gets the fastest lap for the LMP3s, 152.8. So not just Shipua, capable of driving 52s in the race. Speaking of Shipua, he is in the pits now. He will stay in the lead, of course, but at least it will not look like a 1 minute gap to P2. That's at least something. George Craw. Oh no! Oh no! That was a big one. That was a big one, and all hopes and dreams of getting into P2 might be over after this massive shunt. Hensel and Vasquez both in the pits at the same time. Clement Godet as well, but he is a bit too far away. Now we see lots of cars heading to the pits, and that's the hope spot for the drivers that have chosen or had to off-cycle the strategy to maybe get 1 or 2 positions right there at the end. Honestly, I thought the pit times for Shipua and Liebold would be a bit less than 32 seconds, in fact. I would have guessed underneath 30 seconds. Okay, guess I was wrong. As usual. But now you can see in the GT4 class, you can really see it. The first pit stop, 1 minute and 2 seconds. The second pit stop in the 30s. Ooh, who was that going wide? That was Winslade, I believe. But man, what a shame for Cross. Starting in last, working your way up to P2 in that massive shunt. Ruining everything. What a shame. Zach Liebold. He is de facto P2. Because Alec... Oh, wait a sec. No. Alex Murphy. Lap 32 should be enough. Lap 32 should be enough to get over the finish line. No. That's possible. And George Cross also had to use his fast repair in the first pit stop. What a shame. What a shame. Hansweig in the pit, so Matthew Hansel back in the lead, but it is so close in the GT3 class. It's a GT4 class! First I call them LMP4s, now I make a GT4 into a GT3. It's almost as if I've been talking non-stop for 84 minutes. So excuse my mistakes. Ward and Peppa in the pits. We are waiting in the top 10 for Tovey and Forrester still. Their pit stop was in lap 20 and you cannot stretch to 20s. Nah, they have to pit as well. Like I said, up 42 laps for the GT4s. Stretching 2 laps out of it. 1 lap, maybe, yeah, maybe. 2 laps, not without wasting a lot of time. Of course, if you decide to drive 6 seconds slower and chill, James Ellis. Did he hit the wall there as well? A little bit. But yeah, it's not feasible. Matt Pierce and Clayton McBullough now in the top 10. As the pit stops are coming to an end, as also is the race coming to an end. Less than 4 minutes. Marcin Rajewski, final point position for him. Chasing Henry Shepard. Henry Shepard was in the pits on lap 1 and 21. We talked about 21 laps possible. Can he save the final point? Can he save? Right now he's in P19, so at the moment it's 2 points, but I think if he has to stretch the fuel, he will have to, lose the position, but he's not giving up. This is for P19. We will see. 2 minutes and 35 seconds plus change, of course. Because it's not just 90 minutes and the race stops dead in its tracks. No, of course not. You have some driving to do, up to a full lap if you're unlucky. And that full lap can cost you. You always have to calculate some extra into your strategy, or else you run out of fuel. It happened to Clement Godet in Road America. We have not seen it on screen, but it happened to him. Because we were so focused on what happened to David Ward at the end of the race there. If you remember Mark Kelly, that thought for a moment he would lose the car there, but no. All good. John Cook behind Ewan Topley. P12, 13, 14. They're still fighting. So the GT4s are showing quite a race, but also the LMP3 battles were much more and much longer than in Road America. We have to say, was there a car standing? I think this was McIntyre. Yeah, he was standing there. I mean, he was in P23, so Rob Miller spinning around. Not hit the wall. But yeah, that settles his last hopes for getting P8. Not going to happen. Rejewski and Shepard still going at it. So McIntyre now, because he ported the pits, he was ranked higher for a little bit, but now everyone passed him and it is how it should be. David Ward and James Pepper, P7, also not decided yet. Also not decided yet. And I mentioned it earlier in this race, I cannot see a lot in that camera. Thank you for changing. He got him. That's the most important part. But James Pepper, he tried something. He showed himself. But David Ward, he's a veteran in the limit of adhesion. He knows what to do. But still, impressive performance by James Pepper. That was unnecessary. Isaac Mitchell got hit by Timon Slutz, but luckily for Mitchell, it will not cost him a position. But necessary this was not. From one Pepper to the other, Steve Pepper, also P11, very decent. Very good race. The clock is at 0. Where is Łukasz Shipua? In sunset, so we are about to end. Right now. There we have him. Shipua wins. At the end by a minute. Because so much happened behind him. And now everyone that comes over the finish line after him will end the race. So we have this interesting situation that the leader of the GT4s, he was one of the last cars getting over the finish line. Which means he is one of the last to finish the race, together with a few other GT4s, like 4 or 5 other cars. But yeah, slowly but surely everyone gets over the finish line. Gareth Winslade. As part of the Missed Apex crew, we have to apologize. I swear, Gareth, next time I will not hit you. I hope. But either way, we are waiting for for all the cars to cross the finish line. Matt Pierce, also great race by him, P9. Matt Gunsley, P4 for his class. Goebbels in the top 10. Looked much more comfortable in the LMP3 than in Road America, so an improvement there. Congratulations. Hogewain in P5. One of the rare drivers that has not changed his position from qualifying. Him and David Ward, the only ones in the top 10 in both classes. Chris Forrester, Ewan Top. Oh, what happened to Ewan Topley's car there? Have you seen that damaged car? Either way, I think only one more is... I think everyone is over the finish line. No, Rich Meesters. Rich Meesters was the final car to get over the finish line. Or is there any... No. Can we get results, please? Or do we still have to wait for cars? Program does not want to show us the results. Maybe because of this? Vasquez. Now we get them, and sadly the overlay is still overlapping there. But either way, Hansel, Hansweig and Vasquez, the top 3. Congratulations to them. Then Henry Shepard, he gets the final point of the race. He truly gets it after that disaster of a race start. And Neil Todd, Gareth Winslet, Peter McIntyre and Bruno Gaiotto, the 4 drivers who will not get points from this race. Sadly, in the GT4 class, but the LMP3s, Chipua, Murphy and Lebo, the top 3. Then the second half, oh yeah, we had 20 LMP3s, so every one of those gets at least something out of it. But yes, this was our race, but we are not fully done yet. We have to take a look at some standings. And let's start with the LMP3 class. The updated standings look like this. Łukasz Chipua 101 points in front of Alex Murphy and Zachary Liebold, the only non-paddock GG driver in the top, what is it, top 7. Wow, paddock GG is dominating the LMP3s early on. But yeah, Matt Kunsley, Rob Miller, Marian Hogewain, Bartosz Piasecki was not in this race, sadly. Timon Slutz, so there are also other non-paddock GG drivers. He is in P8. Jack Davis, Justin, Maurice Weisbecker rounding up the top 10. But same amount of points as Gavin Kelly, Shao Tomei, Mark Kelly, Luke Slutz, Thomas Goebbels, who had a much better race 2 than race 1. Mark Ennis, Steve Pepper, good performance today. George Cross almost made it from P20 to P2, but then that massive shunt. Ben Stutting, Sebastian Boivy, Stephen Greening, Milos Gabolewski, who was in the running for a podium early in this race, or first half of the race, but then sadly lost it as well. Ture Molleren, also a race to forget for him. Aaron Denker, Bruno Gaiotto, who changed classes, so he will stay at 0 points. Except he decides, you know what, I jump back to LMP3s after all, which would be weird, but, you know, it's his decision. And Oliver Ettridge also at 0 points after 2 races, which means for the LMP3 team standings, wouldn't you know who won the pony? The Paddock GG crew dominates there as well, with a bit of Lamageddon mixed in the middle of it. So Paddock GG, blue, black, green, white and red, all in the top 6. Only Lamageddon between them in P3. Then Slutz Unleashed, Dragon Scale Racing, Cool Camel Racing, Mischief, Stupid Aguri, TB Goiblix Racing, I still don't know how to pronounce that, Risky Racing, and the White Rose Vikings in 14. And if we jump to the GT4 class, Michel Hansweig, then Matthew Hensel, only 2 points between them, but then that massive gap to Clement Godet. So 2 great results for Hansweig and Hensel early on, and the result is that. Isaac Mitchell, David Ward, Mike Murphy, Charles Vasquez, John Cook, James Pepper, Jason Hightower, so many J's. Then Blake Tovey, and the J's continue. John Duncan and James Ellis, Matt Pierce, Patrick Gallick, Clayton McBolla, Daniel Ambon, Michael Poole, Marcin Rejewski and Ewan Topley rounding out the top 20. But we are not done yet, because there are more drivers. Chris Forrester, Ryan Gibbard, Rich Meesters, Henry Shepard, Neil Todd and Gareth Winslade. And without points at the moment, Thomas Bruin, Peter McIntyre and Bruno Gaiotto. Which means for the team standings, AITX Revolution iRacing is leading with 128 points in front of Pole Position Motorsport, then Team Blarp, Missed Apex and Nebulama, pretty close between 3, 4 and 5. Cool Camel Racing Red, Missed Opportunity, Cool Camel Racing Grey, Formulama, Big Paddock, Big Package, excuse me, Paddock GG, White Rose Vikings, Full Throttle Racing and McLaren with Cool Camel Racing Blue and Missed Shift without a point so far. That was it. I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast here from Sebring. I enjoyed it, even if it was really hectic in the beginning. But overall, a nice race to watch. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you stay tuned with the Limit of Adhesion. The next time we present the race, the next race must be, let me think, the Prime, the Formula Fords. So we have seen quite a bit of chaos in Okayama in the Prime series. Will this continue, or will stuff settle down? Let's find out. I think it's next week. I hope you will be there as well. Thank you for being with us today. My name is Patrick. I wish you a good day and see you again soon. Goodbye.